Views and opinions expressed in this production are those of the individual and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Shooters Nation or our sponsors. Information provided on this show is not a replacement for legal counsel or professional training. Listener and viewer discretion is advised. This is especially true on live shows.
Welcome to the Shooters Nation podcast, the show created for you, the armed citizen. Join our hosts and subject matter experts as we talk about guns and gear, practical training and knowledge, Second Amendment issues, and the firearms culture. Be sure to join us after the show at shootersnation.com and become part of the Shooters Nation.
Welcome to the Shooters Nation podcast. I'm your host, David Yancey, coming to you from the Shooters Nation studio in Nashville, Tennessee.
Co-hosting tonight, as always, Mark Lancaster here from Central New Hampshire. How are you, David?
I'm doing good, man. Central New Hampshire. So once again, I feel sorry for the listeners. They can't see what we can see. One of these days, we've got to fix that. But Central New Hampshire has a very impressive arms room, and this must be another arms room in the Squared Away Customs HQ.
It is. Yep. This is the conference room.
That is the conference room. It looks very similar to what H&K, Heckler & Koch.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It looks exactly like H&K. It's funny you say that.
It's nice that they came in and they stocked that room for you. That is very impressive. What do they call it the gray room, but you call your version of it the conference room. So that is
conference room.
Very impressive. I like the minigun on the tripod there behind there. That's actually a grenade launcher, isn't it? Yeah. So everybody should have a grenade launcher. So yeah. Well, we're mixing things up a little bit with the intro. We thought we'd take care of a little bit of business. Moving forward, we'll kind of try to get this done on the front end, and then we'll get into the episode. So I'll skip right into that. We want to remind everybody that you can connect with us after the show at shootersnation.com, where you can contact us and send us feedback and sign up for the Shooters Nation Mail Blast mailing list. Shooters Nation. I wonder who those guys are. I wonder if they have a good podcast. Nation. I don't know. We'll have to find that and see what they are. Google that. I don't know. Google that with the audio turned off. It might not be a website that we want the audio coming into our show for. But anyway, while Mark's Googling things that you probably shouldn't Google, you can also.
Did you mean Shooters Nation?
Did you mean Shooters Nation? I probably did. Smart.
Well,
that's smart Google machine. So you can also follow us on Instagram as @Shooters Nation Radio and on Facebook.com/Shooters Nation. While you're on Facebook making Zuckerberg's net wealth go up even higher, be sure to sign up for the Shooters Nation community, and you can interact with us, which is super exciting. Other listeners, which is even more exciting, and some of our guest SMEs, which is probably the most exciting part of the whole thing. And finally, if you like what you're hearing, you can help support the show and make future episodes possible by becoming a Patreon patron at patreon.com/Shooters Nation. And you can help support the show for free by leaving us positive reviews on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, YouTube, etc. That's actually pretty important, because if you leave us a positive review on any of those services, our show rises up to the top a little bit in the rankings, so that whenever somebody's searching for Second Amendment related content or self-defense related content, they find us, and that's cool. So anyway, that felt weird, but I think we can get into the groove of this moving forward. So
absolutely,
it'd be a good thing to do. Anyway, Mark, how's it going in your world this week?
Going good. I've been spending a little bit of time. Whenever I get a few minutes and driving by the range, I just peel in and got a new Ruger American in 300 blackout, a 16-inch. Yep.
Yes.
And I put a suppressor on it, and I plan on using that for whitetail hunting this year.
Okay.
So I'm trying to really get tuned in with it and make sure I'm on point. Got some good glass on it. I did a 2-to-10 optic on it, and extended a little bit of a bolt handle on it. Did my famous Mark Krylon spray paint camo job.
Right.
I've got it all tuned in, ready to go.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
I have done nothing new with guns this past week. I'm slacking
Really?
really bad. Yeah. I have carried a few times in places where people were surprised to find out that I was carrying, which was interesting. Got to spread the word about the Zulu holster from Squared Away Customs on 2 occasions, and that was kind of cool. I think the conversation was kind of like, oh yeah, I really wish I could carry a gun, but in this setting, everybody would know that I had it. And I'm like, really? Well, I'm carrying right now, and I don't think anybody knows. And the look of just, disbelief was kind of funny. And so thankfully it wasn't anywhere that was like illegal or anything like that. But people were still shocked to see that I was carrying, on one occasion, the Gen 4 Glock 19 that I've tricked out. So it's roughly the length of a Glock 34 with the comp on it and, the RMR. And then the other time it was my MMP 2.0 with the RMR on it. And, both times everybody was like, I cannot believe you're carrying that thing and I didn't notice it. And I'm like, hey, guess what? I know people that make holsters and they're good and you should go there and spend your money. So probably a good segue into just a quick plug for you guys over at squaredawaycustoms.com. And for the listeners, be sure that when you visit Mark and Corey and the gang that you're using the coupon code Shooters Nation, all one word, to save a little bit of cash. So
yes,
that is it.
Please do.
Yeah. And so I'll be looking for a listener that wants to help me. I have been told that my money's no longer good at Squared Away Customs. So I'll place orders through other people. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, in other news, our winner for the gift certificate placed his order the other day.
Eddie, excellent.
He has decided to go the route with a new Polymer 80.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So I noticed, by the way, that was actually on Recoil Magazine's website. They had an article talking about one of the products that we'll mention tonight, and it's the new Polymer 80 long slide Glock 19, Glock 17 hybrid thing that they're producing. And there was a holster in there from a guy that and actually a holster and a mag carrier from a guy that So a little bit of,
you saw it?
I saw it. A little bit of Squared Away Customs love on recoilweb.com. It is actually there. If you look in the show notes, Mark, and I'll put the show notes in there for the listeners too, because we'll reference this article. There's some photography and pretty sexy looking holster and Tango mag carrier.
Of course, my company, and I still haven't seen this.
Yeah, right.
I knew it was happening. I haven't seen the.
It's there. It's on their website.
Is it on their? I thought it was coming out on their concealment.
Well, so it is on Recoil Web. They also pull off from Off the Grid and Concealment magazines, both of which are their properties. And if you go to the news section on Recoil Web and scroll down, maybe that's not it. Anyway, I'll have to go find it again. We got the link in there somewhere in our show notes, but they have a mention of the new Polymer 80 frame, and your holster is right there. So yeah.
I knew it was happening. I sent it out a couple months ago, knowing that it was going to be in the article for Recoil Concealment. I just hadn't seen it because I don't subscribe to Recoil Concealment.
Right.
So I knew that it launched in Recoil Concealment about 2 weeks ago, but I hadn't seen it hit the actual Recoil Web.
Yep, it's there. So it's going to be in Concealment episode or Concealment issue 11, and the title of the article was Polymer 80 Compact Long Slide. So you go all the way down through there, and then I noticed a holster. I was like, holy cow, that looks like, and it was, and yeah, it's very familiar looking. So, cool. But there you go. Yeah, it's and they call you guys out specifically and say, it doesn't fit most Glock holsters, but a number of holster manufacturers make models specifically for it, including this one from Squared Away Customs. So
awesome.
Bazinga. There it was in all of its glory. So yeah, very good photo, very good product. Looked sweet. So anyway, yep. So talking about stuff like that, the episode today is about, well, 2 things really. I think we we discussed this earlier. We're going to do a little bit of listener mailbag at the end because we still got some questions that we hadn't answered, and a couple new questions have trickled in. But also there's been a couple new things dropping in the firearms industry lately, and that's exciting. The folks will be listening to this probably, if I were to guess, it's going to be like another week because we still got part 2 of our episode with Rich Graham that will air before this one. But by the time that our audience gets to this episode, here we are doing the whole time travel thing again. But anyway, by the time they get to this one, this will probably have made its rounds on the internet quite a bit. But we've got some cool stuff to talk about, including one item in particular, a new 10 millimeter handgun. So what do you think? Shall we fire right off into the what's new?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Hey, that's a nice shirt you're wearing there too, man. You got
Thank
the
you.
Shooters Nation polo shirt and the arms room behind you. And
Yep.
I'm sitting here in a long sleeve shirt because it's like going to be 40 something degrees tonight in Tennessee. And, fall has fallen. So anyway, so yeah. All right. New stuff, right? I was flipping through the interwebs today and I was shocked, I tell you, to see that Springfield Armory announced the new 10 millimeter XDM. And you being an insider and you working with a variety of different manufacturers and having channels in the distribution world, you may have already heard about this one, Mark, but this was news to me, complete news.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What do you think? I mean,
I think it's great that
Yeah.
we're expanding and we're doing new things, and I love it. I just think it's it's probably a little bit more popular than 357 SIG.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's a popular caliber, but not real popular. The ammo's not a lot of money. I mean, the ammo's a lot of money. The recoil's a ton.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's just, I think I've always thought of it as a handgun as more of a semi-auto hunting round, maybe.
Yeah. I can see that. And it's popular for that too, from
Sure.
what I've seen, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean, I personally have not had much luck with Springfields. I know a lot of
Yeah.
people do. I've had a couple that I wasn't a fan of early on. I have a really hard time with the backstrap safety.
Yeah.
It's something about the way I grip it. I frequently get pinched in it. The triggers are pretty nice. They're not quite as crisp as I like. They kind of like a clunk break rather than a
They
click
do.
break.
Yeah. They're more tactile than an M&P, I think, but
Yeah, and the reset is absolutely better than an M&P out of the box. But they have the front serrations, and I like that they're 9mm versions or 19+1, so that they've got a nice big grip for my big hands I've got. I know a lot of people that have luck with them, but I also know a lot of people that don't. And I think that that a 10 mil option is just one more for their wheelhouse to just another offering, which is just great.
yeah, no, I'm with you. So I've had a few XDs over the years. I think my favorite was the XD45 when it first came out. So it was the service model with the 4 1/4 inch barrel. And I think it had 10 rounds of 45 and a very small, circumference wise, very small grip. And I liked it, but what kind of did it in for me with the XD, and they may have fixed this, and man, I hope so, but the roll pin that goes in from the top of the slide down into it to hold the loaded chamber indicator, when that thing breaks, you're kind of done, because that indicator is also part of the striker assembly. And I had an XD9 tactical, which was the long slide 5 1/4 inch version 9mm, and I ran it in a defensive pistol class, and that roll slide cracked and worked its way up, and that gun was 100% unusable for the rest of the class. And worse yet, they wouldn't send me the roll pin to put in myself. I had to return it to Springfield, and that was miserable. It took a few weeks to get back, and whatever. My wife and I both had the XD45 compacts, or whatever they're called. Yeah, the XDS45. So the XDS45s. And both of them had to go back during the recall. They had the trigger safety recall, and that went back, and they got retrofitted, and she still got hers. Mine was rock solid reliable after the fact. I gave it away, gave it completely. No money involved. Gave it to a family member that needed a handgun, and I just said, hey, you like 45. This is small. Do you want it? Yes. Okay. Go with God. It's yours. Right. So anyway, um, yeah.
Yeah, my dad had the same recall on his XDS
Mhm.
45. And it took, I want to say, like 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I don't
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. It's about that
8
for
weeks.
mine. Yeah.
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 And anytime that, I think they get a bit of a smear anytime somebody's got to give up their gun that they paid their hard-earned money for to send back. But at the same
Absolutely.
time, they understand and they want to be safe. But I mean, it's a bit of a rub, right?
Sure it is. Yeah, it puts a
Yeah.
bad taste in your mouth. Well, so what they've said about this one, and this is interesting. I hope it's true, or at least I hope that it bears out to be true in the long term. Their verbiage was a claim of, quote, torture tested to prove the quality and reliability of this new addition to the line, firing 10,000 rounds of federal premium Hydroshock 10 millimeter ammunition through the gun with every, and big emphasis on every, round documented on video, unquote. So that's good, right? 10,000 rounds is far more than I managed to get through my XD9 Tactical. And I'll err on the side of being fair and say that my Tactical failed, I don't know, back in 2008, 2009. So we've had nearly 10 years since then. And you would hope that lessons learned, that Springfield has improved their quality and so forth. I'm happy that it's not the XD whatever version that's got the grip zone grip, because that would be stupid, right?
Yeah.
It's got the XDM. The real, it's a very aggressive grip texture. So that thing's not going to move around in your hand. And you need that with the 10 millimeter.
I always, and maybe this is just me, the grip zone tattoo down the side of the gun, I think is so freaking tacky.
Yeah.
And I've always just been like, really? Why would you do that?
Yeah. Thanks, Springfield. I was going to grab it the other way, right? I was going to hold it with the grip pointed at the person and not the barrel or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It was kind of dumb. I don't know why they did that. So the statistics on this for those of you listening that haven't seen it yet. It's going to be available in a 4.5 inch and a 5 1/4 inch model. Both of those are basically considered full size. They're not compact. The 4.5 inch version has what Springfield calls low profile combat rear sight, which is just a plain iron sight, non-adjustable or drift adjustable, right? It's not like, you can adjust it with a screwdriver or anything. The 5 1/4 has the adjustable target rear sight, and both of them have a fiber optic front sight using a red fiber, much like on the XDSs. Both of these things hold 15 rounds of ammunition in the magazine, and of course, the +1 in the chamber. And it looks like, looking at the statistics on Springfield's marketing literature, the larger barrel, larger slide, the 5 1/4 inch version comes with 3 magazines, whereas the other comes with 2, which is silly. I don't understand why you would do that, especially when Glock is giving 3 mags with every gun you purchase.
Yeah.
So, strange, very strange.
I will say one thing, and that's when Springfield first came out with the XDM in 5.25, it came out probably 6 or 8 months after they came out with the XDM. The 5.25 9 millimeter with that fiber optic front dot and that rear adjustable.
Yeah.
I had ordered one in for a buddy, and he's like, take it to the range, make sure it's zeroed for me. I just want to be able to shoot it. I just want to shoot it well. I don't really care about dinking around with that kind of stuff. And I brought it to the range, and I was shooting really fast, and it was really accurate.
Oh yeah.
That 5.25, that whenever you get that link, you don't shoot like shooting a Glock 34. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that link, you extend that sight radius, but it was almost like one of those types of pistols that I couldn't mess with.
Yeah. Right.
I was shooting like 8-inch steel plates, 25 yards, just ding, 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 ding. It's just like, this is awesome. But yeah, that's one of the good experiences I've had with Springfield handguns.
Well, I mean, this is honestly fairly impressive to me that they've done this, but I guess in the back of my mind, I'm thinking it's still an XD, and XDs, like you said, still have a fairly high rate of failure in classes, and that can be demonstrated. There are there are these different instructors that have documented XD
Aaron Cowan has
failures.
documented XD failures.
Right, right. So when you compare that to a Glock and an M&P, I don't know. I'm a little scared of it. I'm not going to say that I would write off the idea of buying one, but I want to hear some real world experience with it first. And I just this past weekend parted ways with my barely used Springfield operator, the TRP operator 10 millimeter, the same one that our buddy Cicino has. Yes.
Did you replace it with something awesome?
No. I mean, I my hobbies kind of fluctuate depending on the season, and
you're all Toyoted out right now.
I'm all Toyoted out right now. I've got the 4Runner project going full tilt, and being, no longer dual income, no kids, I have to find creative ways to come up with money to fund stupidity. Otherwise, my wife looks at it and says, wrong, vetoed. And I had something I wanted to do. I'm trying to build this 4Runner up so that we can go take some pretty cool trips out west and just go ride around on trails and stuff. And that Springfield, when I looked at it in the safe, I thought, you look like a pair of remote reservoir coilover shocks. So that's what you're going to become. And I sold it to a good friend of mine, a listener of the show, and he loves 1911s. I do too. He also loves 10 millimeter. I do too. It's just he loved that idea more than I loved it. And so it found a good home, and I know that he'll use it and enjoy it. He'll take it out and shoot it, and he'll probably go hunting with it, like do hog hunting or something like that, right? Me, it was cool for Instagram. The pictures were fun. I was not going to carry it ever, period. Really, just I don't know why I bought it other than the fact that I like 10 millimeter. So again, leads me back to this. I made a comment on Springfield Armory's website. They had a social media post. No, it's on Facebook, on their Facebook feed. They were advertising this gun. They were promoting it today. And I got on there and I tagged Smith & Wesson and Glock in a post on their post and said, hey, guys, take note, do this. Why don't you build one of these? And one of the Springfield faithful replied and said, well, actually, Glock does make 10 millimeters. And yeah, he's right. The 20, the 29, the 40 or whatever. And I was like, yeah. I guess I should have clarified. I've got a Glock 20 10 millimeter. And what I really want is a Glock 19 or Glock 23 size 10 millimeter.
Yep.
Make it, and Smith & Wesson doesn't have anything in this game yet. And so, I don't know. I'm hopeful. Keep my fingers crossed. Smith & Wesson just did the M&P 2.0 45 compact.
Compact, yeah.
Yeah. And same size mag, same size gun will work with this, works with a 10 millimeter. Glock has proven that. So we'll see. Mark, one of our listeners actually pointed out on our Facebook community for Shooters Nation today. He said it's interesting that Springfield says the only thing that they changed for this gun was the recoil spring assembly, which is kind of bizarre between it and like the 40 caliber, I guess. Right.
Yeah. It seems like it would need some reinforcements.
Yeah. I think it definitely, to me, it seems that way. So I don't know, knock on wood. I hope that it does well. If it does, I seriously might come back to it. And this might be the first time that an XDM makes its way into my arsenal. I've not owned an XDM before. And we'll just see. I like the 10 mil cartridge. I think it gives a bad guy a lot of things to think about. The muzzle velocity of that is it's a hot round. So, especially in winter, heavy clothes and things like that. But, I don't know. Did you ever watch the movie? It was like a 70s movie or not early 1980s movie. Johnny Dangerously had Joe Piscopo in it. And I forget who the lead actor was. I'm terrible. Yeah, it's like a mobster movie. It's kind of funny. But the villain, Joe Piscopo, was like, he he had the 88 Magnum. He's like, it shoots through schools. So, yeah, that was before, like, that was back when you could joke about those things before, school shootings became a real terrible thing. But, he had the 88 Magnum had a barrel that was like 3 feet long and stuff. So every time I see the 10 millimeter and think about the oomph of it, I think about Joe Piscopo and his 88 Magnum. So anyway, yeah, there you go. Trivia. Well, we'll get hate mail on that one. So any hate mail about that?
Honestly, my favorite thing about 10 millimeter is that cartoon with the stick figures.
Oh, the nuclear explosions. Is that the one you're thinking about?
Yeah. The one that's, shows the 380 lobbing into the person, the 9 millimeter, hitting the person, and the 45 blowing a big hole. And then the, so and so. And then it shows the 10 millimeter and it just shows like a mushroom cloud. Right.
Yeah. It's a neat round. I mean, I like it. It's a lot of fun. And, in a small Glock 19 size package from Glock or from Smith & Wesson, I would be all over it. But this one, I'm going to have to hear some things about it. So anyway, so let's talk about Glocks, since we like to talk about Glocks. The new Glock. This one's been kicked around enough on the internet, but we haven't really talked about it ourselves yet. The Glock 19X. What do you think?
I think that they did it backwards.
Yep, I agree.
I think, like, to me, as much as I love Glock, I feel like they do it knowing what they're doing. So
Trolling.
They know if you're a Glock fan that you're going to buy whatever the new Glock is, especially if it's chambered at 9 mil. It's gonna sell, period. So I feel like they launched the 19X.
Yeah.
And knowing it's going to sell, and we're going to do it in color peanut butter because that is something different, or that'll sell too.
Because we got a lot of this paint and the military didn't take our gun for the contract. So we got to use it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then, not to, probably skipping ahead here, but it's not in the notes. But then last week, the Glock 45 came out.
Yeah, that's right. It did.
Which is basically the 19X, but with a few more things that people have been asking for, but not all of them. Right. So I wish they would just do what people are asking for, but they know they're not going to, because it'll allow them to continue to sell guns.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's pretty insidious, but I think you're right. I think it's very true. It's like they've put an addictive substance in the polymer that they use. And so, right. Once you get a taste of it, you never want to stop buying them.
Something as simple as front cocking serrations.
Right.
On a modern day defensive weapon.
Especially with that new NDLC, the near diamond light coating that they put on the Gen 5. I've said before, that stuff's slick. It is. Yep. It's like Teflon.
Slick as snot.
It is. It is like slick as a baby seal. And I have knocked skin off my hands with the rear sight when my hand slid up it trying to do a front, like what would have been a front of the slide cock or press check. And, man, yeah. So I'm right. So why haven't they done a Glock 19 grip with the Glock 17 slide? Right. WTF Glock. Why are you not doing this? The entire internet wants this, it seems like. And, anytime they release a new 9 millimeter, everybody's like, ooh, but wait, it's not what we're asking for.
Yep.
And, I don't know.
And the thing about it is, for me, is all of the hype that this 19X has gotten.
Yeah.
When you set them down on top of a Glock 17,
you
were talking about a quarter of an inch difference.
That's it. That's all it is.
But everybody hates on the 17.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody's like, oh, it's not a 19. They're too long. You're too long. It's like, you realize you drop it in the sand, you're talking about maybe 3/8 of an inch of a bigger gun.
Right.
Period.
Right. Yeah. I don't get it. I really don't.
So for me, I just,
yeah. Well, I guess so. I should step back. There might be somebody listening to the podcast that's like, well, 19X, what's that? Basically, it's a Glock 17 grip and frame with a Glock 19 slide on it. So
a compact slide with a full size grip.
Yeah, it's like a perfect right angle. Well, except for the fact that it's not. They don't do a 90-degree grip, but it's kind of like that, right? It's equal length slide and frame grip.
Yep.
And I guess the thing that they did that was different is, Well, I guess so. You're right. Really, I'm thinking about the 45. The Glock 45 is the black one. The 19X is the peanut butter one, right? So
Correct.
I guess really I should have said that, the Glock 45 is the new Glock we wanted to talk about. But the difference with the Glock 45, which is not a 45, it's a 9mm, and the 19X, right? Get out your abacus, kids. We're gonna, So anyway, it's like, it's black. It's not peanut butter tan. It's got front cocking serrations. It has
no finger grooves.
The no finger grooves. It also
sights.
loses that stupid toe or whatever they're calling it on the magazine that the 19X had.
Get you pinched. Yep.
Yeah. And the steel sights, right? You mentioned that.
Ambidextrous slide stop.
Yeah.
A better barrel. I think I forget they call it marksman barrel. Something about the barrel is supposed to be more
crowned.
accurate.
It's crowned and it's got a different twist rate. It's like my Gen 5 19.
Yep, same barrel as Gen 5. Yep. And then the front cocking serrations, the steel sights, finger groove removals. They removed that pinchable cutout on the front of the front strap.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah, that's
kind of
what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the thing that I was more excited about, and even that was kind of a meh, was the Glock 19 and 17 Gen 5 MOS, right? So those got the front cocking serrations.
Yep.
But it still has that goofy red dot sight mounting system, the plate system, that I don't really care for. I think that I don't know. The only advantage of that mounting system I can think of over a slide that's been purpose milled to fit a particular red dot is versatility. So if you have severe ADD, you might have a Leopold Delta point on it this week, and next week you might, get tired of that and buy a Trigicon RMR or something, so you can swap them out. That's fine. But it's got to provide a taller co-witness. I think I've actually seen Aaron Callan talk about that when he compares them, it's that few
higher.
Millimeters higher means that all your iron sights made to co-witness, generally, suppressor height sights to co-witness with a purpose milled slide and RMR, they sit lower, and it's just weird. I don't, the iron sights sit lower in the field of view of the red dot. So, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. I haven't seen any data. Are anybody having, or is anybody having problems with the MOS mounting plate failing in any way? Because you get like 2 points that are screwed together there. You got the red dot screwed to the plate, and then the plate screwed to the gun. Right, more moving parts.
Yeah. More potential failure, and there are some, but it is so it has its place. For me, I think it absolutely has its place. And its place is, it is a way for you to get into the red dot game without sending your gun off to get milled, making a permanent situation on a gun that you're not sure whether or not you want to do that.
Good point.
So you're paying $100 more for the Glock that's ready for a red dot sight for the top. Versus if you buy a Glock that doesn't have any milling or doesn't have the MOS feature, then you send that off. You're paying a couple $100 to have it milled, and there's no going back from that. It's milled.
That's right.
You don't have the option to be like, well, I don't really want to do it. You've either just wasted $200 in a few weeks of your time, and now you have a chopped up gun that, you can get a cover plate, I suppose, but not everybody does that.
Yeah.
So yes, it has a place, but I see it as a temporary window. You either like the RMR or you don't. I honestly don't know that I know anybody that has gone to RMR and gone back and got rid of them.
No, I think you're right. Anytime a person takes a handgun and modifies it to suit themselves, whether it's to have the frame stippled or Cerakote the slide, the frame, whatever. If it's a permanent modification that can't be undone by unscrewing, unbolting, knocking some roll pins out, whatever, that has become something that is very much tailored to their personal taste. And in order to sell that to someone else later, if they get tired of it, they're probably going to take a hit, or they've got to wait and find exactly the right buyer that wants exactly the same things that they did. So you're right. It does have some versatility there, and that could be appealing to somebody that isn't sure that they're going to like it. And chances are they'll try it, they'll like it, and then they'll move on to a better system, which is, a purpose built milled slide.
Recessed a little bit lower into the slide. So it gets a little bit lower. So, because the biggest learning curve for me was getting the height figured out, that my sights are now much higher.
Yeah.
So every time I pull up my gun, I'll be looking just above my back plate, and I need to be looking about a quarter of an inch higher than that.
Right.
And it doesn't seem like much, but it takes some getting used to. When you're so used to a platform, you're so used to a sight system.
Yep.
And you do it and you're like, oh, hello.
Right.
And now when I do it, I'm pulling up, I'm looking over my sights. But so you just need to go back to the basics of tracking that front sight as you're making your presentation, and it lines you up. But yeah, keeping that RMR as low as possible is key for getting, as far as the learning curve is concerned.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, I hope that the Gen 5 MOS slide with the milled, the milled front serrations on it, the cocking serrations, makes its way to the normal Gen 5 19, maybe like a Gen 5.5 or a Gen 5 summer special, right? That was the thing with the Gen 4, the front cocking serrations run.
Well, the 17 and the 34 are already out.
With the serrations,
front cocking serrations MOS. Yep.
Okay. Well, so what about? I got a little bit excited there. I was thinking that you were saying that like the Gen 5 19 with front serrations, but not MOS. That's not available yet, right?
No, not that I've seen.
Yeah. So maybe in 2019 we'll see another summer special, and it will be that. Who knows? Glock. I love my 19s, as evidenced by the number of them in my possession, but. All the 19s. But yeah, man, I don't get it. Sometimes they seem like they hate the consumer more than H&K does. Right. So,
yeah. And you know who's capitalized on it and is about to drop a big bomb?
Yeah.
That's Polymer 80.
That's right. So let's talk about that next. Right. So Polymer 80.
Super stoked about this.
They just released, what is it?
The PF 940 CL. Which is exactly what the 19X and the Glock G45 were supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
So it's the 19 grip with the 17 slide versus a 19 slide.
And the internet went wild, right? Absolutely.
Right. Yep. And it's like, this is what the market's been asking for. And that's what you get out of a company that actually listens to their customers.
Yeah. I hope Dan and those guys invested in a lot of plastic, because they're going to sell the heck out of these things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They sure are.
Yeah.
And there was a time where it was, people were like, I don't really think that I'm going to trust that kind of gun.
Nope.
The proof's in the pudding.
That's right.
The documents are out there. People are running these guns.
Yesterday.
The snot out of these guns, and they work.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Well, I say yesterday. I'm talking like yesterday. Yeah, that was a minute ago that you had that problem, right? But the new stuff with the steel inserts and it's solid. It's very solid. So yeah,
you've got to get you one of these things.
Yep, I'm down with it. I would love to do a 940 CL build. So. It's pretty interesting. They also, I saw that Polymer 80 now sells completed frames, and Dan had alluded to that somewhat on his episode with us. But the cool thing about that is if you're the kind of person that still doesn't trust that you could do a Polymer 80% lower build of your own, and trust me, you can. But if you think that you can't, and you don't want to, do the jig and the tooling and all that fun stuff, Polymer 80's got a 100% frame. And it's actually cheap.
Serial number and all.
Yeah, I mean, so right. It's serial numbered. You have to do an FFL transfer. It's got to come into your local FFL, and you're going to go through the background check and everything else, because it's the serialized part. But this is cheaper than the 80% frame. So the Polymer 80% lowers are more expensive than this.
Do you know why?
Well, they're saying that it's because of the lack of the
they don't need all the tooling. Yeah, you don't need the jig. You don't need the 2 drill bits or the end mill that comes with the 80%er.
That's awesome,
because they provide you the tools to complete it.
Right.
So if you don't need them, it makes it less money.
That's awesome.
I mean, they could have done it the same price and just been like, thanks everybody.
Right. Yeah.
You know
they
what I mean?
Right.
But,
again, good guys, right? We know that from knowing Dan. You know Dan a lot better than I do, but the time that we spent with him, straight shooter, honest guy, and it seems like those ethics pervade the company. So that is very cool. I'm glad to see them doing it. I want to do this. They've got some different colors of the polymer too that were pretty exciting. They've got the one that's kind of like a bronze color that looks pretty cool. So
I thought you were going to go with that Robin's Egg blue one.
Robin's Egg blue. Yeah, I'll do that, man. I'll have my Tiffany blue gun. So, actually I think my oldest daughter would completely love the Tiffany Robin's Egg blue gun. So
yeah,
that might have to be a graduation present for her. She's about to graduate nursing school. So yeah, we'll see. But, yeah. So tell me about holsters, right? We mentioned that a little bit earlier, and Recoil went through it. If a person wants to buy one of the 940 CLs and either get the completed frame and put it together or get the 80% and do their thing, they can come to you guys and order. You're not going to order a Glock holster, but you're going to order a purpose-built Polymer 80 holster.
Exactly.
For this. And so they're going to look for the Polymer 80 Glock 17 sized holster, right?
Yeah, because the grip doesn't matter. So as long as you order the right slide length, then that's what matters. So
Yeah.
our Polymer 80 holsters, we have them for the 26 size, the 19 size, and the 17 size.
Okay.
They're all open-ended, so they all accept a comp or a threaded barrel. They are all cut for RMR, and they are awesome.
You guys are precision,
super high-end precision molds made
Right.
for these, because they are, without exaggeration, probably between 30 and 40% of our overall sales for the last year.
That's awesome.
So we do a ton of them, and most of the IWB options that we have are in the quick ship line. So they ship or the cutoff, I think, is Wednesday, and they ship on Friday.
Okay.
So you order all week long, and then they all ship on Friday,
Very cool.
as long as you order before Wednesday.
Very cool.
We also have the Tango magazine carrier, which we've talked about here before, as a quick ship item, and we're just about to add the Sierra. About this time next week, the Sierra mag carrier will be in quick ship as well.
What is the Sierra? Is that the one for
Here it is, the inside the waistband tuckable
Oh, okay.
mag carrier.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
It's the one with the strut and the soft loop like the Kilo.
And it uses the same tensioner adjustment that the Tango
Yes,
does.
sir. The one that goes into the back of the mag rather
Very
than just
cool.
squeezing the mag with the grommets.
Yeah.
So we had some new molds made for that. The first one arrived yesterday for the double stack, and then we're just waiting for the single stack to come in. We're going to make a few prototypes, make sure it's 100%. And then as soon as 100%, we're going to launch it on the website and get those going quick ship too.
Awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, there you go. So get your Polymer 80 PF 940 CL frame, get your Glock 17 size slide or a Glock 17 slide itself, and go to town with that thing. Build the gun that Glock should have built. Glock, listen to us. You should be doing this stuff. Don't know why you're not, but Polymer 80 appreciates it. All right. So next up, while we're on the pistol bent, let's talk about this one. The Alien pistol from Laugo Arms. Have you seen this thing?
I have. I've watched a couple of videos. I've seen it.
I mean, it is like unlike any other handgun that I've seen in a while. It is really freaking cool.
It's like what makes me think. It makes me think of the high end 1911 company Infinity.
Okay, yeah,
It's
I can see that in the serrations. Yeah,
it's almost like Infinity and Chiappa Rhinos got together and had a baby.
It's a Chiappa Infinity baby.
So because the round fires from where the recoil spring normally is.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this thing. We'll put some links in the show notes. I'm looking at it right now. And first of all, I totally get where they got the Alien idea, because when this thing, it's not a slide. It's almost like a reciprocating bolt assembly or whatever you want to call it. When that thing's extended in like the blowback position, it looks like something that H.R. Giger would have drawn, for the Alien movies. It's just freaky cool looking. And so I'm trying to a picture's worth 1,000 words, but all right, folks. So you got to go look at the pictures, but here's what I'm looking at on my screen. You've got a grip that almost looks like a Sphinx grip. It's kind of like, it looks like a polymer grip body that's screwed to an aluminum mid frame piece. Right. So, looks very CZ-ish in the grip. And that's interesting enough, because Laugo Arms is the same company that designed the CZ Scorpion Evo, rifle pistol, and they sold that to CZ to produce. So they're like a design firm, right?
Mhm.
So some of the design language there is definitely Czechoslovakian. But so you've got that. It's got a trigger that looks like, if you breathed on it, it would go off. It's so slender and slim and just elegant. And if you were just kind of like draw a line from the barrel straight back to the beaver tail and look below it, it looks like what you would expect to see maybe a Sphinx or a CZ75. It's got, got the pick rail, and again, the design language is pretty familiar. Above it, all that goes out the window, right? Because it's bizarre. Looking up from that line, like you said, where the recoil spring assembly would be is where the barrel rests, and it sits low down in there. It's like right above. I mean, it has to stop before the trigger guard because there's not a lot of room above it. And then there's like a reciprocating part that runs the full length of the gun, and it's like it's a bolt carrier, from what I've seen on the video. And then above that is another section, which is almost like a dust cover that snaps onto it, and that's where your sights are. And it doesn't move. That part doesn't move. So, looking at the gun from bottom up, the grip and the frame don't move, obviously, because you're shooting. The bolt carrier section does reciprocate back and forth, and then the top dust cover stays stationary.
So this is doing a couple of things. One, it's going to have little to no recoil.
Yeah.
Two, your sights don't move.
Right. Like
your sights do not reciprocate. Your red dot or your irons, they're fixed.
Yeah.
So there's that. And there's one dang thing for sure. You're never, no matter if you have Mark Lancaster meat hands like these, will never get slide bite on this gun.
Right.
Look at the beaver tail, the way it hooks over the back of your hand on that thing.
Absolutely it does. Yeah. It comes up, and you're right. It's got a hook, right? So it kind of goes up, and then it comes back down slightly at the very trailing edge of it, which would shove the meat of your hand down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to get my hands on one of these.
So SHOT Show, that's where I'll be touching it.
Yeah.
And I believe this year, because it's a pretty challenge to get into, but I believe I will be at range day.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
On my range day, there's a pretty dang good chance I'll be able to put some rounds down with this thing and see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty stoked. I think one of the questions I've got is whether or not this sucker's going to run hot, because it's a gas piston pistol, which was very fascinating. The video, if you go out to YouTube and search for it, you'll find the mention of it. The way that they got this to work, it's a gas piston design, essentially. It's gas blowback internal, right? So anything else that I've ever shot that funnels the gases anywhere through the action gets hot. So what are you thinking, man? I mean,
did you see the meme that was buzzing around today?
No.
It's a picture of Conor McGregor getting smacked in the face in that UFC fight, and it was like that. Like
where his nose is like all crumpled in and everything,
deeper into his face. Yeah. And over his face it says me, and then over the glove of the guy punching him it says gas from a suppressed AR.
Right? That's like, legit.
Yep, that is so true.
That is legit. You get that blowback of gas all up in your face. Yeah.
But you were talking about the gas system. I was just
I think it's gonna be
certain memes hit me and they stick with me for the day. And
well, this thing's gonna be cool because I think we've talked about this in the past. I was saying it'd be awesome. The first company that figures out how to make the red dot not reciprocate with the slide is gonna make a fortune, and that's because it's still, like you said, the sights aren't moving on this. The sights are staying still. Your eye is going to track the sights a lot quicker. Plus, that's way less wear and tear on the red dot. All that jarring, the kinetic energy of the slide reciprocating on a standard, normal, traditional handgun. But so I'm reading through some of the verbiage here. They're saying that cycling of the gun is independent of the fixed barrel. So the barrel doesn't move. It doesn't tilt anything else. And the separate top rail, which is what they're calling that dust cover thing. And they said that during each shot, neither the barrel nor the sights move, should lend to high accuracy, you think, and the possibility for faster fire-up shots.
No doubt.
Yeah, the Alien operates using a delayed blowback system. Gas pressure is used to slow the movement of the slide. Oh my God, it's like a shock absorber, thanks to a gas piston. Laugo claims that the more powerful the round, the slower the slide will move. That defies physics, but I get what they're saying. If they're using the gases off of it, a more powerful round would definitely do it. And the recoil is reduced no matter how hot the ammo is. I want one.
Does it say MSRP in this article?
I don't know, right? Let's go.
Like $9,000 or something.
Probably so. It's probably like something stupid. This has taken the place of the Archon Strike B for me, or whatever they're calling that thing now.
Yeah, it just crushed that thing.
This is going to be the hotness for SHOT Show of 2019.
Unless Glock comes out with a freaking
10 millimeter
grip, 17 length, that'll be the hotness of SHOT Show.
You know what? They'll give me a heart attack. They'll come out with a Glock 19 grip, 17 slide, 10 millimeter. And I'll be like
its head will explode.
Right. Yeah. I'll be like, yeah. And that'll be it, man. They'll find me dead with a smile on my face. So
I'll have to host because you'll be too busy smiling.
That's right. I'll just have that permanent, I'll have to get plastic surgery to take that smile off my face. Oh man. Laugo lists the Alien pistol features as low bore axis, interchangeable upper rail. So I guess that means they're going to have an upper rail that has RDS, red dot sight, a position built into it. Exchangeable back straps, because you got to have that. Adjustable iron sights, ambidextrous magazine release, trigger safety, and striker safety block. As long as that striker safety block is not as stupid as the one that's in the CZP-10C, I'm golden with this. So
let's not go down that rabbit hole.
No, that is like the worst striker safety of any pistol ever made in the history of ever. So, all right, what's next here? Suppressors. We mentioned that earlier.
What? 2.47 pounds.
That's the gun. 2.47 pounds.
Empty.
That's
That's heavy.
That's a heavy girl, but I'll take it. Maybe. I don't know, man. Wow. I love everything else about it. I think I could deal with that. That's 1911 territory. That is go buy a good belt, boys and girls, because that thing's going to weigh. But
it's 40 ounces.
Yeah. You know what else is 40 ounces? A 40 ounce of Colt 45.
40 ounce. Colt 45.
Works every time. Oh man. All right. Wow. Okay. I'm okay with this for right now. I'm not gonna pass judgment. I want to hold it. I want to shoot it. I want to see it.
So heavy. I can't.
It is heavy. It. Yeah.
Oh
it's because it's made out of unobtainium. I don't know. It's the gold that they put on the barrel. It's not really gold. Gold's heavy though. Who knows? Right.
Hopefully you don't. Hopefully, I just hope you don't need 32 ounces of gold to buy it. Right. It's got to be expensive. It's awesome. Right?
It's going to be, unless they can produce this thing in mass quantities. It's going to be more expensive than the Hudson H9. Guarantee it'll be more expensive.
Oh yeah.
I was surprised, talking about weird guns that, and the expense. I was shocked back when the Maxim came out and it wasn't any more expensive than it was, but Silencer Co. would have never sold that thing if it'd been super expensive and you had to wait a freaking year to take it home because the government sucks. So yeah. Anyway, my anti-government jab of the episode. Dead Air releases the new Nomad-30 suppressor. I threw this one in because it was interesting to me. I have shot a Remington 700 custom chassis build with the old Silencer Co. Omega 30 on it, and I was impressed with how quiet that silencer was. The Dead Air Nomad 30 is supposed to be quieter than that, and that's kind of like the benchmark, really, of 30 caliber suppressors. So I don't know. How are you on the Dead Air cans? Have you used them? I
have not used them. However, a lot of people I know, trust and respect, rave about them.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can only speak to that.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm anxious to see this. I threw it in there because suppressors don't generally make industry news. You know, they just don't release them as often. There's not enough sales of them to drive, you know, interest or, you know, whatever. I mean, it's kind of like, it's such a niche thing still to have a suppressor that the majority of gun owners, I think, glaze right over anything to do with suppressors, which is a shame. If they were more popular, we could probably have better laws, or less laws. So, but anyway, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think, just, quick comparison. It's got a lot of stuff on it. Well, I won't do the comparison real quick. So it's going to ship with a fixed mount, either 5.5 or 5/8 by 24 millimeters or 1/2 by 28 millimeters, the two most common. And it's going to have a very short overall length. They said it's going to fall somewhere between the Sandman S and the Sandman K. The S and the K are basically the same. It's the K is the shorter, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And they say that it's going to accept any and all Omega mounts and devices with the Dead Air Omega Chemo. It gets slightly larger.
That was smart.
Kind of smart. Yeah, I mean, they're going straight for the jugular on using the competitor's mount. And it also comes with the interchangeable end caps and everything else, so you can run it with 5.56 as well as 7.62 and 300 blackout. And the noise reduction on this thing is pretty substantial, keeping in mind that any reduction or increase in noise is not linear. It is somewhat algorithmic. The Omega 30 with 7.62 by 51 mic'd out at 138 decibels, and the Nomad mic'd out at 137.1 decibels. So that's 0.9 reduction, but that is actually pretty significant considering that it's not a linear scale. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's pretty cool. Very cool. I'm always glad to see more stuff happening in the suppressor world. Like I said, I just think that we need more of that. So anyway, you snuck one in on the what's new.
I've got another one too that I didn't put in here, but
okay.
That
well,
we should definitely talk about.
All right. Well, which one do you want to do first?
Let's do this one. It's the HK VP9.
Okay. That's not new. Or is it?
Well, they have announced and have released a push button mag release.
Don't play with my emotions. Are you serious?
Promise you.
So they've gotten rid of the stupid paddle and they've gone with so, I mean, Walther did this, right? The PPQ, wasn't it? One of the best triggers of any striker fired gun. And it had the goofy paddle mounts or the paddle releases for the mag. So H&K has gotten smart.
Yep.
Do they not hate their customers anymore? This is not the H&K that I know and love. What is going on with this?
Yeah. This was, I think last week I caught word of this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, happy day, right? So that's cool.
Yeah. So here's my thing with the VP9. I carried it for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
I loved it and I shot it really well.
I had two of them.
I know. I remember.
Yeah.
And so where I went wrong with that gun is when Military Arms Channel did their torture test.
Oh yeah. Mac destroyed it.
And I've said this 100 times. He went above and beyond. You don't need to run over my handgun with a car and still make it shoot. You don't need to throw it at a brick wall and still make it shoot.
Right.
You don't need to smash it with a log.
Yeah.
When it's resting on a stump.
Right. He was angry at that gun for some reason. And I don't get it.
Yeah. But one thing that he did do is he dropped it in a mud puddle.
Yeah.
With a muddy bottom.
Yep.
And he pulled it up and it puked.
Yep.
The gun wouldn't fire. And he racked it and it puked. And he racked it and it finally shot third one.
Yeah.
It's like, I live in New Hampshire. There are mud puddles everywhere, right? This is very feasible for me to be dropping this in a mud puddle. Yeah. So I recreated it in a 5-gallon bale with some sand and some water, and I threw it in, pulled it out, and click.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm just like, okay.
Well, so do you think it's because of the striker indicator on the back of the slide, or was it just getting up in there through everything?
There's a big old hole right in the back of the slide that goes right into all the moving components.
Right.
That funk make the gun go bang.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, hello, there's your problem.
Yeah.
I don't need to know that my gun's loaded. My gun's always loaded.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether it is or it isn't, it's always loaded. You know, it's
Right.
it's
And
how
that wasn't even the loaded indicator. That was the strike. That was the striker's cocked indicator, right? Because it still had.
Oh, yeah, true.
It still had the little indicator, the red paint on the extractor.
Yep.
So.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, I still have a P2000 that has the funky paddle release. I had an H&K 45 that had the paddle release. The P2000 is the only one that has survived in my collection to this date, and I just have a soft spot for that goofy little 40 caliber gun. But the VP9, same as you, I shot that thing very accurately, and people swore that it must have had a trigger job. And it's like, no, this is the way it came from the factory. It's just really good. The thing that got me on it was the fact that I was carrying a Glock 17 sized grip gun that had 15 rounds, right? It's like, why is this grip so dadgum big, yet you've only got 15 rounds in the mag? And I know it's only 2 rounds, but for some reason I obsess over the stupidest things. I was like, this is dumb. Why did you do this? So, sold it. You know, it was one of the ones that was on the chopping block when I was narrowing back in on my, dedication to Glocks and MMPs, and it went. But push button mag release might get it back because I happen to still have holsters for it. So, and as we all know, holsters are the gateway drug. So, yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That's pretty cool. Still makes me wonder what's happened here. I think it's the Americanization of H&K. They're slightly less Teutonic now, and they don't hate us as much as they used to. Hey folks, David here. I want you to think about the handgun you carry for your own protection, and I really want you to think about the holster you carry it in. Do you have trouble concealing your handgun? Does it feel like no matter what you do or how you dress, it's painfully obvious to everyone that you're carrying concealed? Well, I want to take a moment to introduce you to Squared Away Customs. Squared Away Customs is a manufacturer of custom, high-quality holsters for both concealed carry and duty carry. They provide a catalog of holster designs to choose from, and they are glad to take on custom work to design something to meet your specific needs. Mark and his team take pride in providing an excellent product at a reasonable cost. They work hard to keep delivery times short, and their number one goal is to ensure that their customers are satisfied. Squared Away Customs also offers a heroes discount to military, police, emergency medical workers, and educators. And for listeners of the Shooters Nation podcast, Mark offers a reduced pricing if you use coupon code Shooters Nation. Again, that's Shooters Nation as the coupon code. So, before you strap that cheap floppy store-bought holster on again, head over to squaredawaycustoms.com and treat yourself and your carry gun to something more worthy of the challenge. The Americanization of H&K, they're slightly less Teutonic now, and they don't hate us as much as they used to. So...
Yeah, the company Omaha Outdoors has a pretty good write-up on it. So if you want to go check it out there.
I will go check it out. We'll drop that in the show notes. That's interesting. All right, very cool. What was the other one that you dropped in here? I'm looking at the picture of this bad boy right now.
Yeah, the new Ruger. It's an AR-556 chambered in .450 Bushmaster.
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with that caliber. Tell me about it.
You like those big caliber?
Yeah.
Some guys, I think it's more of a hunting thing. I've never had one. I've never really had excitement for one. It's just a 45 caliber AR round. So it's pretty chunky.
Okay.
But yeah, in an AR platform. So
interesting.
And the cool thing is it takes standard AR mags.
Very interesting.
I think that's how it works, right? They're different mags, same bolt. I forget.
Huh.
I probably should know more about.
I'm looking at a picture. It almost looks like it's the same mag, maybe with a different follower. I don't know. This is well. Here it is. It says it's.
Well, what I do know is it's not an AR-10 lower.
Okay, right. Yeah. No, it looks like you're exactly right. It looks like it's the same mag as it's loaded. The one next to it in the picture is loaded with 5.56 or 223. So yeah. Yep. So this is kind of like an automatic. It's not like a 45-70. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
That's just what you need. An
That would be
automatic. It's like a
for hunting.
punch from Mike Tyson in the shoulder every time you shoot a 45.
No doubt. I was listening to an episode of The Gun Collective with John Patton and Adam Kraut, and they were talking about 45-70s, and I think John mentioned either the 45 or maybe it was a 50 Beowulf. But anyway, it was one of them that was, I want to say that this was like a post sample done by an FFL with a SOT, and it was full auto. And I think he said that it was just like the most stupid one. He said that gun shoved him around, right? And he's a big guy, kind of like I am. He's built like a brick wall, and he said that it moved him around. So I think if it moved him around, it'd move me around. So that sounds pretty fun. This is neat though, right? So they've kind of done it right. Magpul M-LOK accessory attachment slots on the furniture, which is good. 450, yeah. I mean, why not? That looks like a really good gun for deer hunting, for sure.
Exploding watermelons or something.
Yeah. Pumpkin carving. That's coming up. That would be good. Wonder if we could somehow swing Ruger into giving us a demo model if we did a video of AR-556 in 450 Bushmaster carving a pumpkin.
I'm sure Hickok 45 will probably already be doing that for them.
Yeah, he'll do it. That's all right. Yeah. All right. So I guess, can you think of anything else new that's happening right now in the firearms industry, or?
Let's see. What else is new? Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything super new. I canceled, just personal note, I canceled my order for a comp from Texas Black Rifle Company. I had a Glock 19 comp that I ordered back in June, and their equipment went down for manufacturing some aspect of it. And they started shipping them again, I guess, about a month ago. And I'll say this, I've been corresponding with them. The customer service aspect has been excellent. They've been super communicative. They've answered my questions. They offered me a refund several times. Hey, we're sorry about the delay. If you want a full refund, we'd be glad to do it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, no, we'll wait. It's cool. And then just recently, I thought about it. And I'd shot the Glock 19 build that I've got with the primary machine comp on it. And I thought, why do I need another comp? Right. And so I went ahead and canceled it. I was a little sad, a little disappointed. I've heard really good things about that comp. I think they're still struggling to catch up with their backlog because of how popular it is. But I wanted to give those guys a plug. I'm not unhappy with them at all. The customer service aspect of that was excellent. They offered me a week ago to cancel it once again if I wanted to, or hey, continue to wait. You're fine. I delayed responding to them by almost 7 days, and I finally wrote back and said, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and cancel it. And like 4 hours later, I had an email from them confirming the cancellation, and the money went back into my card. And so, yeah, it's good. It was, a little disappointing I didn't get it, but good experience overall. And, that's rare in the industry. So I was glad to see it, and not unhappy with them at all. And hopefully those of you that are out there that have ordered those and are waiting for them, you get one soon and you can tell me how it was. So, but I'm still happy with the primary machine comp. It's running well. And it's for me, having not done a comp to 9mm before, I'm still astounded at how well that thing mitigates recoil when you run 124 or 147 grain through it. I mean, it's crazy. Right. So, all right. So I guess shifting gears, listener mailbag. I footnoted this one. You asked, we'll make up answers. So maybe not. We'll make them up. Maybe we'll actually, we'll draw from our experience. Right. So,
yeah,
but we had a couple of questions, and this is some stuff that's still left over from the 6-month anniversary show, which I'll say this, I really appreciate you all sending these questions in. I am so sorry that we didn't get to answering them until now, but please keep the questions coming in. The listener mailbag, that is perpetual. As we get enough of them, enough questions, stockpiled, we'll do this. And frankly, periodically, it may be something timely and we'll just drop it into an episode. So please don't hold back because we didn't answer these sooner. Is there any of these that you see on the notes that you really want to talk about personally? I mean, there's one in here that's very much aimed for you. But do you want to take a swing at one of these real quick, or what do you think? I'm going to take a swig of bourbon here real quick and wet the whistle.
Do either of you shoot competition? Do you feel like it helps prepare yourself for self-defense?
Mm-hmm.
I've never shot competition a day in my life, but in my opinion, the more time behind the gun is always going to prepare you more.
That's a good point.
It may be a different aspect, but you are doing something as simple as, getting rid of that anticipation of recoil. The more you shoot, the more you're going to just be used to make one with your gun. I absolutely think that it would help you long term. The more you're behind a gun, the more it's going to help you. Period.
Yeah. I agree.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So do either of you shoot competition? I have in the past. I used to shoot USPSA and IDPA. I favored USPSA for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's probably because more of the matches were done with USPSA rules around here. Did I feel that it helped me prepare for self-defense? Mark, honestly, I hadn't thought about it from the perspective that you just mentioned, but yes, from that angle, absolutely. More trigger time. What I was thinking about was that from the perspective of stress, it helps there. It's still not the same as somebody coming at you with a gun because the targets aren't shooting back. Really what it stresses you is to get gun on target quick and manipulate the trigger. Now that's where I'll say that I stop with it helping you. I think that it can be detrimental because in competition, other than no shoot targets, the targets that are designated as don't shoot this or points are deducted from you. I think it kind of instills a desire to hose things with the trigger. And, I don't know. That's it. Yeah. A buddy of mine and I used to go shoot these things together. We went to a big match in a neighboring town. And he did well. I tripped on a barrier and had my hand off the gun. I tossed my gun forward because I knew I was about to fall and I was going to break the 180-degree rule. And the 180-degree rule basically is that if you draw a line from your left shoulder and your right shoulder, through your body, across your shoulders, out 180 degrees, either side of you, you don't let the gun's muzzle ever point behind that. So in other words, don't do anything stupid and unsafe where, you can't see where the muzzle's going. Right. And so as I started to fall, I knew I was going to have to put both hands out or I was going to hurt myself. And I chucked the gun forward onto the sand, surface there, muzzle aimed down range, did not break the 180, but I was DQ'd. And it's like, hey, I get it. Nobody got hurt. Everybody went home. But the amount of crap that I took from some of the others on that really kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. And then my buddy Angelo, when he was shooting, had somebody come up and say, hey, you did really well. If you did this, and this, you'd be faster. And he just kind of looked up and said, I'm not trying to compete. I'm not trying to go fast. I just want to be out here shooting. Mm-hmm. And the amount of crap that he got from competitors about that was, we were both just kind of over it. So I think that experience varies widely and wildly depending on who you're shooting around and who you're shooting with. And 99.9999% of the people that shoot competitively will never encounter the two things that I just described. Right. But for us, it was just like, done with it. I stopped shooting competitively and started shooting at classes. Right. Mm-hmm. So, yep. All right. So the next one, had somebody ask about tourniquets, which I thought was kind of fun. Thoughts on the RATS tourniquet versus the CAT or the soft T? I'll offer what I've learned in classes. I have all the above. I have a RATS. I have several RATS tourniquets. I have several CAT, a lot of CAT tourniquets now, and I've got one soft T. I would prefer the CAT and the soft T because of the fact that you can apply the right amount of pressure easily. more easily than you can with the rats. With the rats tourniquet, it's questionable that you will actually be able to apply the pressure needed to occlude the vessels and keep the bleeding, the veins, arteries from bleeding like this, right? So I hear people say all the time that the rats tourniquet is great for children, and I say that you can do the same thing with a cat. And I've seen it done in classes. We didn't actually do it to a kid. We did it on a child-sized dummy. And I've heard that and with the soft T, the same thing. And if I were to choose between the cat and the soft T, I'd probably still buy the cat. I have nothing against the soft T. I think it's a fantastic system. It's just a little bit more complex. The mechanism is. Both of them use a windlass. I think the cat uses a polymer windlass. The soft T uses a metal windlass. But the rat's tourniquet is just essentially a giant piece of like tubing, stretch tubing with a cover on it, like a woven cover. And
right.
I've heard people say that the rat's tourniquet is better for like canine dogs, right? So if you're a canine officer, if you're a soldier with a canine troop with you, that the rat's tourniquet works better for them. And I think that there's probably some legitimacy to that, but I've seen people use the cat tourniquet and the soft T tourniquet as well. For animals or for children, you can always use some bandage to wrap around a couple quick times and then put the cat or the soft T tourniquet on it and cinch that thing down and still get the amount of compression and inclusion that you need. I'm not an EMT. I am not. I do have a PHTLS certificate to my name, but that's it, right? I've not had to tourniquet anybody that was shot, and I hope I don't have to or hurt in some other way that was bleeding. I could do it if I needed to, but the folks that taught the classes that were way smarter, way more skilled, and had way more experience in this stuff than I do, this was their opinion that the cat and the soft T are superior to the rats. I stuff a rat's tourniquet down in my thigh cargo pocket in some 511 shorts or
Sure.
pants, just because I can carry it more places than and more easily than the cat and the soft T. This cat and the soft T don't fit in that kind of pocket, and I figure a rat's tourniquet is better than nothing, right?
Yeah. There's another one on the market that's kind of catching some wind behind its sail, and that's the Stat. Tourniquet.
I haven't seen that one. What's the story
So
with it?
it's basically like an 1.5 inch wide zip tie.
Oh, okay. Huh.
And when rolled up, and in its sealed package, it's a little bit, it's smaller than a hockey puck.
I see it. Yeah. Okay. I found the thing. All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
And I've got a couple here, and people are like, yeah, can you really get them tight enough? And I can assure you, you can.
Right.
It's almost got like a very slight stretch to it. So when you really crank it down,
yeah,
and you think it's just right tight, you let go and it's a little bit tighter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a little bit tighter as soon as you release the pressure because you're reefing on it.
Interesting.
And it's really fast.
It has an automatic counting time strip timer. Has it got an electric device on that thing?
No, it's like a blister that you break.
Oh.
And it turns colors at 30 minutes and then turns another color at 1 hour.
Chemical reaction. Very cool.
Yeah.
Huh. So how wide is this thing? I see that. So they're saying that it fits adult, pediatric, and canine limbs as small as 20 millimeters, which is pretty small diameter.
Yep.
How wide is the strap? Is it
about 1.25 inches, I would guess?
Yeah, that's a little bit. I think it's a little bit narrower than a cat or a.
Yes,
I think you're fine there. Yeah. So I mean, really, I the other thing I don't like about the rats is if you don't wrap it properly, and this is part of the problem too. In an incident that you need a tourniquet, seconds matter. I mean, I'm talking like seconds really matter. You can bleed out from some of these things in 30 seconds or so. Especially a femoral bleed or something like that. The timer's ticking down real quick.
Absolutely.
And so you've got to do it right the first time and get that pressure in there and just it hurts the person that's receiving the tourniquet. Bad news for you if you've never been tourniqueted. It is not pleasant. It beats dying, right? But with the rats, you need to kind of like stagger your wraps so that it's kind of overlapping each wind. Each pass around is overlapping the other because you want the width. The width is kind of what occludes and keeps it from causing permanent, arterial damage. So, anyway, I really hope that we can soon have the instructor from my PHTLS class come on. He's been super busy saving lives, and he works as a flight medic and stuff. So it'd be interesting to hear. I wonder though on the stat if they've had the TCCC weigh in on whether or not it's good to go or not. And I can't find anything on that in a quick Google search. So, I've kind of gotten somewhat snobby on that. If the Tactical Combat Casualty Care board or commission, whatever they are, hasn't thumbs upped it, I'm kind of like, well, I will just keep buying CAT or soft T tourniquets. But that's interesting.
Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of people out there that I trust, and Jason Demo, he was totally against it. Any tourniquet that doesn't have a windlass.
Oh yeah. No, I can understand.
And I totally understand. But what's really cool how small this thing is.
Right. Yeah. Man, I look at that the same way I look at pocket pistols. If that's what gets you to carry it, it's better than not carrying. Right. So hopefully it's effective. I'll have to do some research on that. That's the first time I wonder, I'm going to click over to Odin Medical's The Med Shed podcast this week and see if they've talked about this anywhere. I'm a few episodes behind, so maybe they have. It'd be interesting to see if they've mentioned it. Cool. Nah, that's interesting. Let me throw one at you then. I think I know your opinion on this. Glock Gen 4 versus Gen 5. Is it worth upgrading?
Only if you're lefty.
Good point. Really, that's it. Compelling. That's the only compelling thing about it. I like the beveled front of the slide. I've never had a problem reholstering, especially with good Kydex holsters. You're not going to have it like with a leather holster or some crappy thing that folds in on itself. The beveled, leading edge of the slide is nice to reholster, but for me, man, other than the fact that I don't sell Glock 19s, it's kind of like a one-way door. It's like when they come in my house, they never go away. I would consider getting rid of the Gen 5 and going back to another Gen 4, maybe a summer special because of the front serrations. And the Gen 5. This is weird, right? So they took away the finger grooves on the front of the front strap of the frame with the Gen 5. Mm-hmm. Everybody thought that would be awesome. It went the other way for me. When they took those away, I realized how much the finger grooves give me extra grip on that thing. And like if I go wash my hands and here at the house, if I'm just kicking around the house, I never leave guns laying around because you got kids.
Yep.
I probably won't have it inside the waistband or on my belt. It'll be in a holster, but it will go up into a cupboard or something that the kids, there's no possible way, not conceivable, no possible way they can get to it.
Right.
And it'll be in its holster. But if I go to the bathroom or if I go out working in the garage, it's with me somewhere in a safe location. If I come back in and wash my hands up with slightly damp hands and I grab my Gen 5, I can just feel that thing move around in my hands. It doesn't have enough grip. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I want to send my Gen 5 off and have the frame stippled. But the Gen 3, or I'm sorry, the Gen 4, well, Gen 3 too, but the Gen 4 with the RTF texture and the finger grooves, it does not move around in my hand like that.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's weird. So I would consider going back to a Gen 4 if it weren't for the fact that I don't get rid of Glock 19s. So I just don't. It's like bunny rabbits. They reproduce in my house. The other part of the question was MNP M2.0 compact versus Glock 19. God, that hurts me to even think about this one.
Doesn't hurt me.
I don't have a rational answer to this. I don't. I'm looking at my desk and what's sitting in front of me tonight is not a Glock 19. It's my M2.0 compact with the RMR on it. And I love the texture of it. That's it. I mean, that's really it. I love the texture of the grip. And I think that's where it excels. Now that the Gen 5 has the ambidextrous control for the slide release, one that you actually can manipulate as a lefty without having Herculean thumbs, because the M2.0's lefty slide release it's like it's a cruel joke. You know, one of them that I've got is really easy to manipulate. My wife's 3.6 inch version has a really easy to manipulate slide release. Both of my standard 4-inch slide or 4-inch barrel slide 2.0 compacts are very hard to manipulate the left hand or the lefty slide release, which is on the right hand side of the slide. I don't understand it. I know why. I've taken them apart. I understand why it's that stupid detent that they put in there, and I don't understand that part. But anyway, but if somebody came in today and said, that's it, you can only have one handgun platform, I'm not going to choose my 2.0. I'm going to choose my Glock 19. So that's it. I don't know. They're both good guns. You can't go wrong with them. I just have drank the Glock 19 Kool-Aid, and it's good. So I think I explained it to you last time, Mark. I root for the underdog, and I hope this is good. I think the M2.0 compact coming out gave the Glock 19 some competition that they needed. Yeah, it's really the first viable competitor, in my opinion. So, yeah. If they put a 2.0 10 millimeter out, that changes things. I will.
Different category, though.
Different category. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about that one, or I mean, it's pretty easy for you, right? I mean, there is no competition.
Everybody knows if you've listened to more than a minute of an episode, you know that.
Yeah,
I am 100% in the Glock.
Yeah,
and I it's not that I don't have much bad to say. The only one up I will give the M&P.
Yeah,
and it's legitimately the only one that I will give it. Is a slight ergonomic comfort better. It is more pleasing to hold.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's not just
a little bit rounder, a little bit. It's more made for the human hand versus a brick that's been chiseled to the shape of a gun.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've had no problems out of them. I do have the weird thing that I don't know if we've talked about this on the episode or not, but I know that me and Brad Jones talked about this once. The gun that I've got, the slide milled for the RMR, when the sear breaks, the slide moves like 1,000th of an inch to the right. And you can actually feel it if you hold the gun and move the slide, it wiggles back and forth. But what that does to me is with an RMR on it, if you're looking at the target, which is different. If you've got iron sights, you're watching the sights. Your target is kind of a fuzzed out, peripheral view. Not really peripheral, but it's it's fuzzed out. You're focused on the sight. On an RMR, you're focused on the target, and you're aware of the sight that when you break the sear and you crack the shot off, I can watch the RMR dot move to the left time after time after time. And it's like, what is happening? And it screws with me. What I need to go to the range this weekend to figure out is whether or not the ignition cycle
after the
right
round left the barrel
has the projectile left the barrel, or where is it happening in the ignition cycle? I don't know. More to come on that one. If it's not screwing with the impact and point of impact, point of aim, I'm good. I'll live with it. But if it is screwing with it, it may go back to Smith & Wesson for some work. So yeah, because my other one doesn't do it. Neither of the other two that I've got do that. I don't understand it. My other 2.0 compact or my wife's 2.0 compact, none of them do it. And I've mic'd out the rear slide rails on this particular gun. Well, on all the M&Ps, the rear slide rails are part of the sear housing, but on this particular one, they're 1,000th of an inch narrower than all the others that I've got. It's weird. Anyway. So yeah. All right. Question for you from the listener mailbag. Can Mark talk about what the most challenging part of being in the Kydex holster business is for him? Maybe we should do an episode on this. Is it going to be a quick answer, or, I mean, take all the time you need, right? But
yeah. So 100% without a doubt is the challenging part is the lead time. And why it makes it challenging is because, and I'm trying to put this in a nice way, is that people either forget, don't understand, or maybe don't necessarily care regarding the lead times on a custom handmade product.
Gotcha.
I feel like Amazon has ruined the buyer to have the instant gratification, and that is 100% something that I'll never be able to achieve.
Right.
And the frustrating part for me is I'm an instant gratification guy too, right? So I get it, but it doesn't change. It doesn't make me make things faster. And what's hard is that when you do the volume that we do at any given week, I will have somewhere between 100 and 150 forms of communication, whether it's a direct message on Instagram, a comment on an Instagram post, a text message, a Facebook message, a Facebook comment, an email, a phone call. I mean, short of smoke signals or people stopping by the shop,
yeah,
saying, "Where is my gear?" And legitimately, if I could have not had any of that correspondence, I could have made 15 more holsters. You know what I mean? Like, it takes so much time to figure out where it came from, to look up the order, to figure out where the order is in the queue, to get the response out, to get, it's challenging. And that is absolutely the biggest challenge. And, we are late sometimes. Absolutely. And that's another challenge, is that it's really hard for me to estimate accurately how long it's going to take us to make this much handmade product.
Yeah.
Right. Because we have so many options. There's so many variables. It's really, really hard to estimate. And how to handle the lead times, the delivery times, and manage customer expectations is 100% the biggest challenge, and frankly one of the only ones I have.
Right.
Because the rest of it's easy. I really care about my customers, and it's upsetting to me when they get upset with me. And it's like, so we have the box. It says, your gear is currently shipping in approximately, 4 to 8 weeks. You know what I mean? And you have to check a box that says you acknowledge, but we will still get an abundance of emails in a week saying, "Where's my product?
Where's my stuff?" I think you're right. I think that retail, especially Amazon, and the instant gratification culture that has just kind of coalesced around it, has ruined the consumer. Man, it's not just in your world, but anything custom. And it's funny, right? So as you were talking about that challenge for you and trying to get the customer to understand the custom nature requires more lead time, more hands-on effort. It's going to be a slower process, but you're going to get a better product at the end of it. And I'm not just saying that because you're here and you're our co-host, and Squared Away Customs is your child, right? But I thought about something that I saw on Facebook earlier. A friend of mine posted, and he's among other things a professional chef, and he posted a meme, and it's actually a quote from a Marco Pierre White, who is a professional chef. He's a British chef, restaurateur. He's been on MasterChef Australia, Hell's Kitchen Australia, a bunch of other stuff. And I know that not because I'm smart, because I just Googled it. But here's the quote. He said, "People still come here," talking about his restaurant, "and expect a 3-course meal in an hour. What do they think I do? Pull rabbits out of an effing hat? I'm not a magician." And when you think about that, if you go to a 5-star restaurant and you sit down and order a 3-course meal, you're choosing from a menu of options. What do you want for your first course? What do you want for the main course? What do you want for your dessert? Those options in a 5-star restaurant for a 3-course meal are not sitting back there under heat lamps like they're at McDonald's, right? When you order a holster from you guys or any other custom holster manufacturer or any custom firearms manufacturer, they're not just going under the heat lamp and pulling out things that have been built waiting. So it's the same problem that you've got. You're not pulling rabbits out of a hat. You're not a magician. This stuff takes a while.
Yeah.
So
another good quote I had that I heard before is, "You can have it fast, you can have it good, or you can have it cheap. Pick two."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. And people don't want that. They want to pick 3. It's
Yeah.
man, I deal with this and even in corporate America where we're delivering on projects for other entities, and I'm very fortunate that most of the time our internal customers they're understanding because they deal with the same stuff that we do. But then occasionally you still get somebody that's like, no, I want it now. I want this new solution architected and built and delivered to me. Tomorrow's good, but I want it now. But I'll accept tomorrow. And you're looking at going, this is a 6-month lead time.
Mhm.
I can't do this for you by tomorrow.
Mhm.
And so I don't know. That's interesting. I hate that for you guys because the product is very much worth it. But
And that's the thing, because if you, the hard part is that people aren't just like asking where it is. Some people get downright nasty.
yeah, that's not good.
I hope your business fails. You know what I mean? Like, I hope you're
It's not funny, but why do people go there?
Service like this, you're going to be, you guys are going to be under within 2 months.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been in business for 5 years, man. Like, that's not how it works.
And even if they stop placing orders today, I've got enough orders to get me through for the next 6 months. Or whatever, right? So, yeah.
So like,
terrible.
and the other thing is, if you go through, the hundreds of, probably in the neighborhood of thousands between the websites and the Facebooks and the testimonials and everything that are all over the internet today, almost every single one says worth the wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
it is.
Yep. The wait sucks. I get it. I just can't make it any faster.
Right.
And I care too much about the quality of this product to trust just bringing in any warm body to come in and make something that's going to hold your weapon.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could take the Nike approach and have a sweatshop full of people in another country doing, this work for you, but that's not the way you guys roll.
But at the end of the day, nobody cares like I do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Corey is a rare breed. You know what I mean? He is about as loyal and cares more.
I see what you're saying. None of the other employees, none of the craftsmen would care the same way that you do.
Nobody's going to care as much as much as me, the owner, cared. I built this business from nothing in my laundry room in my house. 5 years ago.
Right.
And I literally have blood, sweat, and tears into this.
Yeah.
And so for people to get nasty and mean to us about it, it's really hard not to take it personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's just what you said. It's my baby.
Yeah, that's right.
And but yeah, so 100% unequivocally my biggest challenge.
Yeah,
for sure.
I hate that. So, well, I don't know what we can do about that other than get the word out. And frankly, I know somebody out there is listening to the podcast right now going, oh my God, they're rolling their eyes. They're like, you're only defending it because it's Squared Away Customs, because Mark and he's co-host. But no, I mean, this goes for Raven Concealment. This goes for TT Gun Leather. This goes for any number of other holster manufacturers out there, heck, name them off, right? Any of the other holster manufacturers out there are doing this, or any custom firearm. You don't go to Nighthawk Custom and bitch about the fact, I'll have to bleep that out probably, but you don't go complain about the wait time on your custom 1911 that costs, $6,000 and every part was hand fitted to your specification. You just don't do that, right? If you want it quicker, find it on the secondary market.
Yeah, and it may come off arrogant, and I'm not trying to be that way in any way, shape, or form. But something will get XYZ Kydex company can have it to me in like 6 days.
Okay.
Well, why do you think that they're not busy?
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Why are they not busy enough to be able to drop everything and make you a holster right now?
Right.
Either A, because they don't have any backlog of building, which means they don't have enough orders coming in to keep them busy enough to be busy, right? Like, we are busy not because we're slow at doing what we do. We're busy because you have to wait in line to get to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The average holster, I would say on average, holster takes 36, 38, 40 minutes, somewhere in there.
Right.
For average. And then some of them are much faster. Some of them are much slower. It's not the construction that takes the time. It's getting to your line on the bench.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, you're right. If it's happening that quickly from another manufacturer, it's either they're not busy because they're not making a good product and people have steered away from them, or they're new and they're cranking out a quality product. And I would say man, order all those you can right now, because 6 months from now, when the word's gotten out, they're gonna be in the same boat you guys are, right?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, even if they are new and they are making a quality product, is it a company that's going to stand behind their product?
Yeah.
Because they're brand new. Are they going to be around in a year? Are they going to be around next week?
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot more that comes into it. Yes, they may be making a good product, but they're not going to be making the product that somebody that's been making a product 5 years worth that good, right?
Yep.
So I mean, it's not something that I can teach somebody to do in a week.
Yeah.
This takes months. You know, it is a craft, and I get we're just bending plastic, but there was a lot to learn about it to do it right.
Yep, there is. Absolutely. All right. Well,
that was long.
No, it's fine. I'm good with it. So, all right. 2 more questions. I think we can go through these pretty quickly. So, what do you guys think is happening with the Hearing Protection Act? What would you like to see happen with NFA guns and silencers? I think we've talked about this one before, maybe. I think I kind of ranted about this.
Yes, you ranted.
Yeah. Dare I rant again? What do I think is going to happen with the Hearing Protection Act? Nothing. I think it's going to die. If we see it, it'll be some mutated version of it that's had all the guts of it taken out, and it's going to be just a hollow victory. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Any chance of it passing, do you think, or is it dead?
I really don't know. I really hope.
Yeah.
But I'm not confident.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it sucks. I mean, you know, it died with the package of concessions that the firearms industry, certain representatives of the firearms industry, the NRA and others, made after the Las Vegas shootings, really. And I know people died in Las Vegas. I'm not being callous about that at all. That is tragic. You know, I would trade, you know, a lot of things to get people back.
Mm-hmm.
But our country was founded by people that fought and died and gave up everything, including their families and children and everything else, to have, you know, a chance at good laws and, you know, not to be ruled by tyrants that wanted to subjugate them. And I just think that the Hearing Protection Act would have been fantastic, and it would have taken away some of the stupidity that we've dealt with as gun owners for a long while. I mean, my hearing sucks, right? I hate the fact that when my 4-year-old daughter says something to me, I have to look at her and say, what? Several times, because my hearing sucks. And I don't hear quiet noises as well as I once could, and I don't hear high-pitched things as well as I once could. And she's both of those things. She's a little girl. She's a little high-pitched, right? And she's both of them. And you know, it breaks my heart to tell her, baby, I don't understand you. Come, you can't talk to me from the other room. You got to come here and talk to me where I can see your mouth moving.
Yeah.
Not because I feel like I'm getting old, because I know my hearing is damaged from decades of shooting unsuppressed guns with hearing protection on, So suppressors under the HPA would be fantastic. It kills me.
Not getting it back.
I can get it back. There is no way to get that hearing back. What would I like to see happen with NFA guns and silencers? I want them to be as easy to buy as a handgun, right? If I can pass a background check to purchase a handgun and to get a carry permit in my state, especially my state, Tennessee, uses a very thorough background check. If I can do that, I'll pay. I don't want to, but I'll pay for the tax stamp if I can take it home today. I don't want to throw $200 away and throw it out into the darkness and say, well, there's my suppressor. I'll see it again in 18 months to a year to 18 months or whatever. I think some of the
wait times. It's not just $200. You got to pay for the can too.
Well, you got to pay for the can, right? So $200 for the stamp, the stupid tax stamp that says that I have paid the king his pound of flesh. But let's be real, right? I mean, guys younger than us fall over dead of heart attacks.
Mm-hmm.
What happens in a year? A year from now, I hope I'm still alive. But if I'm not, I've sent the government $200 for an item that I never got to own. And that just infuriates me. This is the good side of the instant gratification. I own it, right? Yeah, I own it. I can go have a conjugal visit with it at the shooting range if the shooting range is equipped to allow me to do that. And fortunately, we've got a couple around here in Nashville that do. But I don't know, man. I'm much more liable to spend $200 on a tax stamp and a couple $100 on the can if I can take it home today versus
without a doubt. But
later.
You know what the thing about it is for me, and it's frustrating because it's another one of those ignorant stances because people think the suppressors are silent.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The movies.
And it's not like the movie.
Right. It's not like that at all.
Like you want them, even being a suppressor owner, it's like, man, maybe if I did this, and this will be quieter. Maybe if I did this and this. When you shoot a 5.56 with I have one of the biggest reduction of decibel suppressors you can get by for a 5.56.
Yeah.
And it is still loud as hell. It's not blowing your ear. It's still way quieter than the crack of a supersonic 5.56 round.
Yeah.
But it's still really loud.
Right.
So it's not like assassins are going to be going offing people and you're not going to hear the gunfire. You know what I mean? Like that's, but at the same time, we can have a Mark 18 with a side folding pistol brace that's shaped like a stock that is 6-position adjustable.
Yeah.
And you go and fill out a 4473 and you have it in 30 minutes.
Right. Right. In the states that allow that. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that is way more dangerous than a suppressor is going to be.
Yes, it is.
If that gets into the wrong hands, that's going to be way more dangerous than any suppressor is going to be. The suppressor doesn't shoot anything.
No.
Right. It's a part. I never really understood this thing. And I have, leftist friends, I'll say, and they literally think that they're silent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
man, I've got like right winger friends that are gun people that have never shot a suppressed gun. And I've taken them shooting with a suppressor and they're like, oh my God, it's louder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. It's not silent.
You know, what's the quietest one that I have is a 16-inch Ruger American bolt gun 300 blackout with a 30 caliber suppressor.
Right.
And that still sounds like a very hyped up paintball gun.
Yeah. Yeah. Or a nail gun. Right.
Yeah. Or a nail gun. Yeah.
Like a pneumatic nail gun. It's loud.
It's loud, but it's still the most quiet suppression I've ever heard. I mean, they're bonkers quiet. To the point of shooting 100 yards, you can fire the weapon and hear it tear the paper at 100 yards. Mm-hmm. Hear it whack into the berm.
Right.
But even then, you're not sneaking in around. You're not sneaking around doing gunfire without people knowing.
No, it's not like you're going to walk up on the sidewalk and pop a guy, as a mob hit and nobody's going to, why'd that guy fall over? I heard nothing. Wrong. My bet
is if legislators knew what I know regarding suppressors and what many of us know regarding suppressors, that there would be a lot less of a rub.
Oh man, they would trip over themselves trying to make it quick because they could charge that $200 and it'd be cha-ching, 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 the cash register all day long for people that, it would become mainstream, right? In other countries, it's required to go hunting because it's considered polite, socially responsible not to go out there and pop off a 30 caliber round unsuppressed. It infuriates me. And the other thing about the NFA, and I'll say it again, I think that the current state of affairs with suppressors and NFA guns in general, but let's just really talk about suppressors here. The current state of affairs there is it has instilled a class system of citizenry. You've got the guys who can afford to buy the suppressor and afford to pay the $200 and afford to wait the year. And they've got disposable income or they wouldn't be doing that. They can afford it. Mm-hmm. The single mom that's struggling to get by and has bought a handgun because she lives in a bad neighborhood and she's worried about home invasion and she's got kids,
and little children in the house.
Why is their hearing less important than big executive guy who can go throw down the money to buy it? Why is their hearing more important? They can't afford it. It's not where she's going to go spend her money. She's going to spend that money to scratch together enough to buy a, whatever gun she can get, a High Point or whatever, and the ammo to have a gun in the house, can't even afford a permit. Why is her hearing and the hearing of her children any less important than, bigwig executive guy or white collar dude or dude with disposable income or woman with disposable income? Why? And I think that we've created a class system in this, and it just pisses me off to no end. So, yeah, that's what I think about the NFA. I don't have a grievance with the ATF, even though I think that they tend to legislate through opinion, and that's not the way it's supposed to work. But I do think the NFA is stupid, and I'll meet them halfway and say, look, for the love of God, just let me buy it today and walk out with it today. And furthermore, let me buy it today, walk out with it today, and pass the same background check, and I'll pay for the privilege of doing it. But I should be able to sell that thing on the secondary market if I want to. If I get a can, I don't like it, I should be able to sell it to somebody who wants it. The same way I can a car, which can kill far more people, or a handgun or a rifle or anything else. And I know there's people out there that think, oh my God, now that's the loophole. The gun show there is no gun show loophole. I can sell anything I personally own. So, anyway, next.
Shotguns for home defense. Good idea or dumb?
I haven't really thought about this one. I've seen this I've seen this question on the list for a while now. I've got one. What do you think?
I'm just going to say that Glock doesn't make a shotgun.
That may be the quote of the quote of the episode. That's going to be on our Instagram. I'm going to Instagram that one. Okay.
There was a time where I was untrained and not really in the know.
Yeah.
I was running guns at a small guns shop in Vermont. And I used to say, you're not familiar with guns, get a shotgun, a pump action shotgun.
Yeah.
Because it's the, when you rack that, it's the international sound of get the F out of my house.
It's the Joe Biden. Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I'm of the opinion that I would rather see somebody with a rifle, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
I think of my house, and I've got a baby, and I've got a daughter, and they're in different locations in the home.
Yeah.
And there are very few directions of like egress or people coming in or people coming out where I wouldn't be pointing a gun that could potentially be a collateral damage situation.
Yeah, right.
And I certainly don't want one spraying.
Right.
And widening that risk.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you.
I think there is something to be said for that international sound of get out of my house when you rack the pump action shotgun. Because I honestly think that, most people will be going for the door when they hear that, but you can't rely on that.
No, you can't.
But what you can rely on is being proficient in a weapon system that you've trained with. And you know where to put your bullets. You put some bright light on it. You get something that's not going to be bonkers recoil. So most of the people in the household can manage it. You get something with a good white light and a good red dot, and you get something that you could put, 2 hands, a shoulder, and a cheek on it, and you accurately place shots, and you call for help.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. If you have a shotgun and nothing else, then yes, it's better than nothing.
Sure. Right. Yeah. It's better than nothing.
But would it be my choice? No, I'd rather have a pistol over a shotgun, frankly.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely not FMJ ammunition.
Right. So we have a Mossberg SPX 590, I think is what it is. It's the semi-automatic 12 gauge. And I bought that after I had bought everything else, right? I had pistols, I had ARs, I wanted a shotgun. And I don't have a shotgun for hunting. Well, actually, I do. I take that back. I inherited 2 probably from my dad and my grandfather. So I do have them. Don't even think about them. But anyway, so the SPX is a heavy, big beast. And I chose it intentionally because I had a Remington 840. Like I think everybody in their life has had, if you've ever had a 12 gauge, you've probably had a Remington pump 840. Sold it. Funny story. I'll have to tell some other time about selling that gun. That's how I met a friend of mine that's a police officer. So there's a good teaser for you. But I bought the SPX because it's a semi-auto, and knowing that the semi-automatic action absorbs some of the recoil, I thought it made sense for my wife, and it does. The thing is, it still kicks like a mule, right? A 12 gauge shotgun can do some damage. A 12 gauge shotgun can take you for a ride also, especially if it's semi-automatic, and it will fire as fast as you can pull the trigger. And when I say it can take you for a ride, it will move you around. It'll push you around. It's a handful. That's why I would prefer a 5.56 carbine or a 9mm, short barrel rifle, or a 9mm AR style pistol, or a SIG MPX, or a SIG, a CZ Scorpion or something like that. It's more controllable, or a handgun, because I would rather my wife be able to put a lot of rounds on target with accuracy, like you. I don't want collateral damage. Frankly, I don't know where that shotgun fits in my manual of arms now. I don't know what its purpose is. I just don't. I don't really have a good reason for it. I can't tell you a job that it would do that one of the other guns couldn't do just as well or better.
I own a bird gun, long barrel, no sights, pump.
Yeah.
That's the only shotgun I own.
Yeah. I
don't have a quote unquote black shotgun. I don't have
this is a black shotgun. I guess I got a couple brown ones too, like you were talking about. I don't know. I mean, that's interesting, right? I mean, because it's funny. I've seen this question on the show notes for a while because it was, listener question. I wanted to answer it. And I don't know why I haven't really thought about it. Maybe it was just because I wanted to avoid coming to terms with the fact that I've got a weapon in my arsenal that I don't have a good use case for.
Yeah.
I mean, like end of the world, post-apocalyptic, prepper, wet dream scenario, I'm still not getting that thing and carrying it anywhere. Why would I? It's big, it's heavy, it's capacity deficient. I think it's like an 8-round tube.
Yeah.
Why? Now,
slow to load.
Yeah. Now, like if I were a police officer on patrol, I would want a shotgun in my car. I mean, they're good for breaching doors. You can breach, blow the lock out, doorknob out or hinges off with the right rounds. If you use less lethal rounds in them, the beanbag rounds, you can get somebody's attention without killing them. And again, man, at close distance, shotgun with double-aught buckshot is formidable. I don't know. I mean, this may be like internet rumor crap, but I've heard that like double-aught is roughly the same size as a 9mm projectile in diameter. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe I'm wrong. But
yeah, I think it's a touch smaller. But
yeah.
What is there? 9?
Yeah, 9 or so of those projectiles in a round, depending on which length cartridge you're shooting.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And I mean, surely, everybody's seen the holes that it makes in targets, and it's fun to shoot pumpkins with them. That's fun. I've shot pumpkins with. Maybe that's why I still own that gun. It's good for pumpkins, right? But I don't know, man. I just don't have a good use case for it. It's not the first thing I would rush towards if somebody were breaking into my house. It's just not. If I had sufficient time. Now, like if somebody were breaking into the house and my wife and I were, for some stupid reason, we had to split apart and she were going to hole up in I wouldn't even do it. I was going to say if she had a hole up in the master bedroom, master closet, man, that's where I've got more stuff in that particular area that I'd rather her use than that. I mean, there's short barrel AR there that she could use, and I'd much rather her have 30 rounds and a quick mag change, than the shotgun. So I don't know. I don't even know why I've got it. Maybe that'll be up for sale next. Wonder what I could turn that into on the 4Runner.
No.
Yeah, don't know. Maybe
Not Toyota stuff, gun stuff.
gun stuff. Well, that's true. Maybe a gun for the 4Runner. Anyway. All right. So I guess that's it, man. We've gotten through the listener mailbag questions, and we're right at about, with editing and all that other fun stuff that we do post-processing for the episode, we're going to be just a hair over 2 hours. But I don't know. I hope everybody enjoyed it. It was fun. Going through the new stuff was fun. And the listener mailbag was something I wanted to get that monkey off her back and get ready to answer new questions coming in. So, I guess again, folks, send your questions in. We'll try to get to them as quick as we can. If it's timely, if it's like time sensitive, if it's pertinent to current events or something, we'll try to get that question there sooner. But yeah, we queue them up and we try to pick the ones that are representative of the most questions being asked or unique or whatever. We try to get to all of them that make sense. But really appreciate you guys sending these in to us. Again, sorry that it took us a few episodes to get to them. We hope that it was still worth it to you. We enjoyed talking. I enjoyed talking about this stuff. I'm looking at your arsenal on the conference room walls there behind you, and
I
don't see any shotguns. So no, nope. I do see a 40 millimeter grenade launcher, which is cool. Maybe that's what I need. Yeah. All right.
For those that don't know, it's a green screen, and I keep teasing David all kinds of cool backgrounds.
Yeah, it's been fun. I know that last time when you left, the president hung out with you. Yeah, that was fun. So I enjoyed seeing the Don. The Don. All right. Well, so I guess a little bit of closing business. As we record this, I probably should have mentioned this the first episode. Florida just took a pounding from Hurricane Michael. So our thoughts are definitely with our audience members that are in the panhandle of Florida in particular. We hope that you guys rode that out well, and the devastation in your neck of the woods is pretty substantial. So again, our thoughts are definitely with you. Hope you guys are okay. Man, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to do a segue after that one, but Mark, how do folks connect with you after the show if they wanted to?
You can always email info@squaredawaycustoms.com. Or if you need any product, or you can always go to squaredawaycustoms.com and browse around, shop around for any Kydex or Polymer 80 needs that you may have, and make sure to use coupon code Shooters Nation at checkout. Save some money.
Awesome. Well, again, special thanks to our patrons who directly support the show and make future episodes possible. If that's you, we definitely appreciate that. If you do want to support the show financially, you can do so by visiting shootersnation.com and look for the donate button. I think our patrons start at like $2, maybe something like that. I don't know. You know what? Let me go look and I can tell people what it is. That would be helpful. Hey, Patreon, quit popping up windows on me. So
and if you join, we're going to do a Google Hangout with you guys.
Yeah.
Let's put that together soon. Let's plan that this week.
That's right. I was right. $2. So $2 starts out, and that's basically 4 weeks, 4 episodes, $2. And then we have a $5 option for those of you that want to do that. So we really appreciate it. We will be doing the Hangouts very soon. We're going to pull together some of the guys if we can, and we'll hang out with you all. But definitely appreciate that stuff. Believe it or not, every dollar helps us make sure that we keep the lights on for the show and pay for hosting and all that other fun stuff. Also, while you're over at shootersnation.com, send us your ideas, send us your feedback. Let us know how we're doing. We really do want to know, especially if you got ideas for future guests, or if you have contacts with people that you would like us to interview. Send us that. Really appreciate that one. I think I'm going to institute kind of a reward policy. I think the next few people that send us a contact, introduce us to a SME that they want on the show, and that works out, I'm going to send that person a hat.
Oh, there you go.
Send them a Shooters Nation hat and probably a couple stickers too. So, why not? So we'll do that.
It's gotta be a realistic somebody too, though.
That's right. Yeah. And then, somebody realistic. I mean, like, you really have to have an end with those people. Like, don't send us Joe Rogan. You should get
Kanye
that.
West.
Yeah. We know that. Right. But Kanye West. Yeah. Oh, wow. That would be fun. If you know that, if you can make that happen, then we're good. I will send you 2 hats. But no, I mean, seriously, if you know somebody inside the industry that's a trainer, or, works in the firearms industry, the manufacturer, or something like that, and we can get them on the show, and it makes sense to get them on the show, we will definitely throw some love your way. So please send us all the suggestions there. Be sure to sign up for the Mail Blast mailing list, and that's how you find out about upcoming shows, live events, hangouts, special promotions, etc. We have had people beg for us to do some sort of a group buy on the Shooters Nation laser engraved coffee mugs and travel tumblers. I'm going to make that happen for the holidays. So when we get together our show for, we talked about doing like a gift episode for Christmas season and stuff. I will make sure that ahead of that, somewhere we kick this off and we do a group buy that will conclude in enough time that I can get it shipped to you in time for the Christmas holiday. So, and that sounds crazy. That sounds like, oh my God, well, don't stress yourself, getting ready for that Christmas thing. But guys, it's like the middle of freaking October while we record this. It'll be nearly Halloween when you hear it. November is going to fly by. So yeah.
Man.
Yep. All right. Well, Mark, I'm looking forward to some range time this weekend. So hopefully I get to come back and talk about that. And don't know. We'll see what else the week brings, but maybe some more guns related stuff to talk about soon.
Right? I have a new one landing on Tuesday.
What do you got?
A Falcor.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that the next episode. That's a teaser. Yeah. All right.
Check them out.
I'm anxious to hear about that. Very cool. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. Head over to squaredawaycustoms.com, spend the money. And until then, be safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon.
The preceding segment was a production of the Shooters Nation podcast. Visit us online at shootersnation.com.